I'm sitting here this morning watching my great-granddaughter chase butterflies in my garden, and I can't help but smile at something that would have terrified me 8 years ago. 8 years ago, when Dr. Martinez looked me in the eye and said, "Dorothy, with your condition, we're looking at maybe 5 years. We need to talk about making the most of the time you have left." I'm Dorothy, and I'm 83 years old, and my doctor gave me 5 years to live. That was 8 years ago. Now, before you think this is going to be some miracle story about beating cancer or some experimental treatment, let me stop you right there. I have congestive heart failure. My heart is tired. It's been working for 8 decades, and it's not going to work forever. Dr. Martinez was probably right about the timeline. Maybe I've just been stubborn about following it. But what I want to tell you isn't about defying medical odds. It's about what happens when you think your story's ending, and then realize you still have chapters left to write. When Dr. Martinez gave me that news, I was 75 years old. My husband Harold had been gone for 3 years. My kids were all grown with grandchildren of their own. And honestly, I was tired. Tired of doctor appointments. Tired of taking 12 pills every morning. Tired of feeling like my body was betraying me a little more every day. I remember driving home from that appointment and thinking, 5 years. What am I supposed to do with 5 years? At 75, 5 years felt like both forever and no time at all. I called my daughter Susan that night and told her what the doctor had said. She cried. Then she got practical, the way Susan always does. She started talking about moving in with me, or me moving closer to her family in Denver. About organizing my affairs, about making sure I had everything I needed. And I appreciated it. I really did. But something about the way everyone started treating me differently after that diagnosis bothered me. Suddenly, I wasn't just Dorothy anymore. I was Dorothy who has 5 years left. People started speaking to me in that gentle voice you use with someone who's already halfway out the door. My neighbor Betty brought me casseroles every week like I was an invalid. My son Michael started calling every other day instead of every weekend. And I could hear the worry in his voice every time he asked how I was feeling. Everyone was being so careful with me, like I might break if they said the wrong thing. But here's what happened that I didn't expect. Once the shock wore off, once I got used to the idea that my time had an expiration date, something shifted. I stopped worrying about things that didn't matter. You know how you spend your whole life thinking you need to save the good china for special occasions? Well, when you think you only have 5 years left, every Tuesday becomes a special occasion. I started using Harold's grandmother's china for my morning coffee. I wore the jewelry he'd given me for our 50th anniversary to the grocery store. I planted flowers I knew I might not live to see bloom. I also started saying things I'd been too polite to say for 75 years. When my neighbor's music was too loud, I told him. When the woman at the bank was rude, I didn't just smile and take it. When my grandchildren asked me about Harold, instead of giving them the sanitized version of our marriage, I told them the truth. That we loved each other deeply, but that some years were harder than others. That marriage isn't a fairy tale, but it can be beautiful anyway. Most importantly, I stopped waiting for permission to do things I'd always wanted to do. I'd always wanted to learn to paint, but I told myself it was too late, that I didn't have artistic talent. But when you think you only have 5 years, too late stops being a valid excuse. So I signed up for a watercolor class at the community center. I was terrible at first. Absolutely terrible. My flowers looked like colorful blobs. My landscapes looked like a child's finger painting. But Sister Margaret, who taught the class, said something that stayed with me. She said, "Dorothy, the point isn't to be good. The point is to be present." And that became my motto for those 5 years. Be present. Stop planning for a future you might not have and start living in the moment you definitely do have. I took that painting class for 2 years. I made friends with women I never would have talked to before. Women 20 years younger who were dealing with their own challenges. Maria was going through a divorce at 55. Janet had just lost her job. We were all in different stages of life falling apart and coming back together. And somehow, in that little classroom with our terrible watercolors, we found something like joy. The funny thing about being given an expiration date is that it makes you realize how much time you've been wasting. Not on big things, but on small ones. Worrying about whether your house is clean enough for visitors. Feeling guilty about taking a nap in the middle of the day. Apologizing for taking up space, for having opinions, for existing. When you think you only have 5 years, you stop apologizing for being alive. Year 3 came and went. My heart was still tired, but I was still here. My great-granddaughter Emma was born that year, and when my granddaughter placed that tiny baby in my arms, I thought, I wasn't supposed to meet you. But there she was, and there I was, and the doctor's timeline suddenly seemed less important than the weight of that baby against my chest. Year 4, I started volunteering at the literacy center. If I was going to be here longer than expected, I might as well make myself useful. I helped adults learn to read, and they helped me remember why learning new things matters at any age. One of my students, Carlos, was 62 and had been too embarrassed his whole life to admit he couldn't read. Watching him sound out his first complete sentence was better than any medicine. Year 5 came and went with a checkup that showed my heart was holding steady. Not getting better, but not getting worse either. Dr. Martinez seemed as surprised as I was. He started talking about bonus time, which made me laugh. Like I'd won the lottery for getting to keep breathing. Years 6 and 7 brought their own gifts. Emma started walking, then talking, then asking me to read her the same story over and over again. I watched Susan get promoted to principal at her school. I saw Michael's youngest graduate from college. I painted my first decent watercolor. A picture of Harold's roses that actually looked like roses. Now here's year 8, and I'm still here. My heart is still tired. Some days are harder than others. I need help with things I used to do easily. But I'm still planting flowers I might not see bloom. Still using the good china for Tuesday morning coffee. Still telling the truth when people ask how I'm feeling. What I've learned is this. We're all living on borrowed time. Every single one of us. The difference is that most people don't know their timeline, so they act like they have forever. I got the gift of knowing I don't, and it changed how I spend my days. I don't know if I'll have another 8 years or 8 months, but I know I'll have today. And today, I'm going to watch Emma chase butterflies. I'm going to call Carlos and see how his reading is coming along. I'm going to water my flowers, and maybe paint a picture of the way the afternoon light falls across my kitchen table. Dr. Martinez was doing his job when he gave me that timeline. He was preparing me for reality. But sometimes reality has a sense of humor. Sometimes the story goes on longer than anyone expects. And sometimes the best chapters come after you thought the book was ending. If you're facing your own scary diagnosis, your own uncertain timeline, I want you to know this. The expiration date doesn't define the story. How you live the time you have, however much it is, that's what defines the story. Use the good china, plant the flowers, take the class, tell the truth, say what needs to be said. Stop waiting for permission to live the life you want. Because whether you have 5 years or 50, time is precious. And the only moment you're guaranteed is this one. If this meant something to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments. What would you do differently if you knew your time was limited? What are you waiting for permission to do? Because here's the secret I learned at 75, that I wish I'd known at 25. You don't need permission. You just need to start.